Hi trader, this is Chris from Elite Currency with a video about using Forex Quant correctly. It is very important, and we want to emphasize that you understand how to use the Forex Quant correctly when filling in the form. Because otherwise you will get information that you use incorrectly and perhaps make bad trade decisions. So first of all, it's important to know what to fill in and what the data means and how to interpret it so that you can use Forex Quant to your best of your abilities in analyzing the Forex market and your strategy. First of all, let's discuss the goal of Forex Quant. What does it really do for us as traders? First of all, we want to have an idea and measure the probability of success of the trade setups and trade management. This is not an absolute number, however. It is a relative number. You must always compare it to your strategy and your setups and see if it's above average, on average, or below average, and then make conclusions about how desirable that setup is. Obviously, above average is better than below average because then it shows that you have a better setup. You can use Quant too for more confluence. You can basically use the confluence to say this is or not a good setup. You can use the Quant to reduce the emotions, to reduce the fear factor and the insecurity that is always connected when trading and analyzing. Furthermore, Quant provides a very clear data point, one single point where basically the indication is given of a score, a percentage. And with having percentages, we can also, of course, enable comparisons between setups much easier than without that percentage. So let me talk about why and what is that Forex Quant percentage. First of all, in general, the higher that percentage, all right, the better the score is and the better the odds are of that trade setup working out. There's no guarantee. There never is in Forex. It's just a rough indication. But the higher, the better in general. Now, the opposite is true, of course, if the Forex Quant percentage is on the lower side. Low is not good. That means that the score is worse. But as already indicated, it's good to not to look at it as an absolute number, but compare it to other Forex Quant percentages that you have achieved with your analysis or strategy in the past. Let's start and take a look at the Quant form. We're now live on the website. I've logged in and I went to the Forex Quant heading that you can find at the very top. And I'm now going to fill in that form. So what do we need to fill in? Well, these three columns represent possibilities to look at three different trades. We do not need to fill in all three. Only filling in one is sufficient. You can fill in two or three. All of them could be different currencies. All of them could be different setups. All of them could be different numbers. And you can just fill in three different types of trades if you wanted to. But the minimum, of course, is one. You need to go from top to down for one particular setup. So you start with currency and then you work lower. The second setup would be in the middle column, and the third setup you can fill in the most right column. All right. So if you want more, then unfortunately you would have to reset one of these columns at the very bottom. I'll show you later on, and you can kind of erase basically all the data and use it again. So if you need a fourth, then you need to erase one of the three before you can do that. In currency, all right, where it says type of currency, you can fill in the currency you want. This is a mental note for yourself. It doesn't matter what you fill in there, but I will fill in the euro dollar. That is typical, of course. And then we move on to the spread. Well, that is, you can check on your broker for that particular pair what the spread is. Roughly, it's not an exact science. I mean, if it's 1.3, then it will not be a tremendous error if you put 1.2 or even 1. All right, it's just a general idea. So I put 1 at the moment there. I just write 1, that's all, and I move on. Position, you can click on the arrow here and choose if you're going long or short. In this example, let's choose buy. Entry, simply putting the entry price. Now, for yen, that could be something like 125.23. For the euro, obviously, that would be 1.12, let's say 25, for instance, all right? Stop loss, we use the same format as above. So for yen, 120.25.10, and for the euro, let's go with 111.70, for instance, all right? Take profit, again, once again, the same format. Stop loss, of course, where the stop loss of the trade setup will go or has gone, depending if you have taken the trade already or not, or if you're looking at it in trying, perhaps, to take it, then you can write what you think you will use. Take profit, same thing. You write down the hard TP or a soft TP. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a TP open, you can still use it. You just have to write down what you think you will use or think you will target, and that's okay. So for the take profit, let me aim for instance, 113. Let's do 113. Support. This is the level where you think price support coming in the market. Now, this is, of course, a bit more discretionary. It depends from trader to trader what you consider support. If you have a method how you define support, use that. That's fine. If you don't, then you can use the template that we have provided with Forex Quant, and you can look at pivot points, for instance, a daily S2 or a daily R2 or a daily S1, a daily R1, or even a pivot point to use as support. Or you could use fractals on a 4-hour chart. Or if you trade lower time frames, for instance, you could even use the Camarilla indicator that has been also added to the template, and use the Camarilla levels. So basically what you're looking for are bottoms and tops. If they're fractals, then they're more important. If there are some major levels like pivot points, then they're more important. That helps choose the support level. Basically, you're looking to fill in a support level that has a significant strength. A rule of thumb what you can use is to go one time frame higher and choose the most recent bottom, for instance. All right? That is kind of like a rule of thumb. You want to choose a good level, not just a very near and not so important level. So in this case, let's say that support is 112. Resistance, same story. Exact same story as support. So let us write down 113, or let's say 114, all right? Price action. Well, price action, there are 10 numbers. When you click on the arrow, you see 1 till 10. What you need to do is roughly eyeball the chart and say, okay, is price action really looking bullish or bearish? Now, there's also a very strict way to calculate it. If you want to do that, fine. You go to a lower time frame, one time frame lower. So if you're on a 4-hour chart, you go to the 1-hour chart. And then you count how many bars on that chart are bullish of the last 10 candles. So that's the number that you fill in. If you see 10 bullish candles, you will fill in 10. If you see 1, you will fill in 1. Let's say in this example that there are 6 bullish candles of the last 10, so I choose 6. Then you go to the chart and you look at the ATR 200 and you fill in the value. Now what you want to do with the ATR is you want to make sure that you type in the correct number. So when you go to the MT4, what you want to make sure is that basically you drag this cursor and you look at the time of the entry what the score is of the ATR. Now with yens, you're going to see 4 digits. You're going to see actually a 0 and then 4 digits. You want to forget about the 0. You only want to concentrate on the numbers after the dot. You see 5743 in the right lower corner, right? So when you see that, all right, you want to take the first 2 and use that for the ATR. So when you see 5743, you drop the 4 and the 3 and you only use the 5 and the 7. This is with yen pairs because they have 2 decimals extra. They're kind of like 125 levels, 135, whereas the euro dollar is 1.25. So it is indeed a bit different with the non-yen pairs. And here we have an example of the euro dollar. You go with your cursor once again to the bar of potential entry and you look what is the ATR value of that entry bar. In this case, it is 0.0055. Here again, we forget about everything actually except the very last two figures. In this case, the 5 and the 5. So when you see two 5s, you write in the form 55. If you see 0.0053, you write 53. All right, that's it. Basically, it's that simple. So you just take the last two numbers and that's it. All right, so that's the ATR explained on the euro dollar. So going back, let's use something like 30 as an example here for this particular trade setup. Then after all these forms, all these fields have been filled in, I can click on the calculate button in the blue. Right? So as soon as I do that, a percentage is visible. It says 63.79%, which is a decent setup. It means that there's a decent chance, in my opinion, because I'm using the strategy, and for the strategy, it's about just a bit above average, perhaps. So that's good. All right. Now that doesn't mean for everyone that this percentage is good, but it's a nice on the higher side typically. All right. It's a decent level. Number of bars open. Now, if you want to trade manage the setup, there are options here to do that as well, so that you can update the score and see if the score is getting worse or better. So what you want to do then in that case is fill the remainder of the form in. The number of trades open, for instance, you write down how many bars are open. If you're wondering how to calculate that, you can do that easily by going to the entry bar, for instance. Let's say that was here. Then dragging with the left mouse button all the way to the current bar. And then what you're looking for is the number on the left. You see 82 there, and now 76. And here you see 41, and here you see 9, 8, and here you see 64. The first number on the left, that is how many bars the trade is open. So how you do that, once again, you take the crosshair, you start with the entry, you click on the left mouse button, you keep holding, and you drag until you are at current price. It's about 97 in this example. All right, so let's write 97 here. In this case, it's already a lot of bars that are open. You write down what the new ATR is because it could have changed in the meantime. So let's write 32. Let's write the current price. In this case, let me write down the 112.60. And we will be using a trail stop in this example, and then I will write down the trail level, which in this example I will make 111.90. When you have the trade management filled in, all right, then you can again click on the calculate button, and that will change this level. So if you want to keep track of the percentage change, write this number down, keep it in mind before you hit the calculate button because it will change. So let me hit calculate, and it went down, all right, to 53. So the odds of this particular setup have decreased, all right, because of the configuration that we have punched in after the management. Now, if you want to change that, there's no problem. You can change it, and we can make this 20, and let's see what kind of influence that has, and it goes up, as you can see. So you can change that if you made an error. The original sheet should not be able to be changed because we don't want to confuse traders. Once you type in the original setup, you cannot change that to avoid confusion when using Quant. And if you want to use the entire column again, then you can hit on the reset button and boom, everything is empty and you can use it again. Right? So that's how you use Quant. You can do the same for the second and third column, and that basically is it. Thanks for watching this video and wish you happy hunting. Cheers!